his presence, and we're blessed today to have him come down from Omaha. And with that, we'll move forward.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Rex. Appreciate it. Seek and save. Oh, God's doing some incredible things in Omaha. For those of you that I haven't met or you haven't been here when I've been here within the last year, I am a part of a church plant in Omaha, Nebraska called Collective Church, and we're a relatively new church. We started in 2020 in our pastor's basement. There was just a core group of us, and we've seen God grow his church, not just Collective Church, but we are seeing a church in Omaha where churches are coming together to do things like this for our community. And I'm so excited for not just Omaha to be a part of that, but for the state of Nebraska to be a part of it too, because Omaha's big, right? There's a lot going on there, a lot of good, and a lot of things that you might see in the news that it's like, don't worry, Jesus is greater than everything that's going on in that city that is dark. And today, I get to share just a quick little message, encouragement that I think, I hope after sharing some of this, you go home, you go to your communities, you go to your small towns, or you go to Nebraska City, you go to restaurants, you go to the barista at your favorite coffee shop in town, whether it's Casey's or, is there a Starbucks in Nebraska City? Scooters, okay, no Starbucks in Nebraska City. But wherever you go, hopefully today you walk out of here different, and you walk out of here as a blessing to those around you. So I'm excited to share today. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay. All right. So, a little introduction of myself, Collective Church in Omaha. So, who loves clothing? Who loves the clothing budget? Who has a budget for clothing? Who doesn't have a budget for clothing? And you just buy whatever you want, right? Oh, that looks expensive. Oh, I'm going to get that. Like, who spends way too much money on clothes or their style and stuff? Anyone in here? No? No one's getting... Randy back there spends way too much on his clothing. So, clothing has generational trends. We have a lot of generations in here, right? So, some of you have grown up in the 2000s. Some of you go back earlier in, the generations and stuff. So I thought it would be fun to take a look, go back a little bit, go back to the 1950s and kind of walk through the decades of the style icons and cultural influences and key styles. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here in the beginning. So in the 1950s, some of these people I don't even know who they are. Some of them I do. So some of the style icons back in the 1950s. Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, I know Marilyn Monroe, and James Dean, right? Okay, I know James Dean. So like the key styles back in the 1950s were full skirts, petticoats, greaser jackets. All right, yeah. So in the 1960s, I was reading these. I know one of them. Oh, two of them. Twiggy? I had no idea. Oh, Twiggy. All right. So style icon in the 1960s was Twiggy, Jackie Kennedy, and the Beatles. Mod dresses, mini skirts, go-go boots, paisley, hippie looks. That was the 1960s. See, I'm not having you raise your hands if you've... I'm kind. 1970s. Cher, yeah, David Bowie, Farrah Fawcett, yeah, Farrah. Thanks for the correction. Love it. Shows my age. 1970s, bell bottoms, fringe, jumpsuits, platform shoes. Who had platform shoes? Okay, yeah. I'm kind of wearing a little platforms here, you know. No, they're higher. 1980s. Madonna, Prince, Princess Diana, shoulder pads, neon colors, leg warmers. I'm pretty sure they're back now. Yeah. And power suits. I don't even know what power suits? What is this list? I don't even know. All right, 1990s. We're getting closer to, now, right? Kate Moss, Kurt Cobain, Aaliyah, grunge flannels, chokers, what? Baggy jeans, and minimalism. 2000s. Okay, this was my prime. I grew up. That was like when I hit my teenage years. Was in the 2000s. Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and Justin Timberlake. Low-rise jeans, baby tees. What? Whatever. All right, tracksuits and bling. The 2010s. Kanye West, Rihanna, and the Kardashians. And that was skinny jeans, which I'm still stuck in the 2010s, I guess. I'm wearing some skinny jeans up here. Normacore, neutral palettes. And now we're in the 2020s. And Zendaya, Harry Styles, and Emma Chamberlain. I didn't even know who Emma Chamberlain was. But wide leg pants, all the bootleg, Y2K, and 90s style revival. The 90s are coming back in today's thing. And sustainable fashion. It just sounds a little bit, I don't know. That's where we're at today, right? Those are the trends of the decades, clothing trends, right? A lot of us maybe have worn those when we were younger. Some of us maybe still wear that today from the decades that we were from and stuff. And clothing matters, right? What we wear, the stuff that we wear, we see that clothing reflects our internal view of ourselves, and the trends and everything that we go through, the cultural trends. And it also impacts our view of others. Think about, some of you, when you grew up in the 1960s and then the 1990s happened and they're wearing those saggy pants showing nothing but boxers and stuff. And, it impacts our view of others too, because they weren't, raised in our era, or they're dressing maybe a little bit too scandalous or a little bit too unlike, what we should look like and stuff. The way we dress matters. And as Christians, we are called to stand out and to be different. Not like others. We are called to dress differently. So today's message, we're going to talk a little bit about what it looks like to dress differently as a Christian, metaphorically speaking. We're not going to walk out of here with different clothing or whatever, but metaphorically speaking. So in the Bible, we're going to dig a little bit into the book of Colossians. So if you have your Bibles with you, we'll turn to Colossians 3. And we're going to jump around. We're going to go forward a little bit, and then we're going to go back. We'll open up Colossians 3, 12 through 14. And it should be on the screen up there if you want to follow along up there. So the Bible gives us a different way to dress, unlike today's popular trends or the trends of our decade. So in Colossians 3, starting in verse 12, it says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people," I thought today's worship song fits perfectly. The last one fits perfectly into this message, so thanks for following the lead of the Holy Spirit. "As God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you have a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So we're going to stick and we're going to stay in Colossians. There'll be a couple other verses and references that I'll pull up, but I thought I'd look a little bit into, the context of the Colossian, who Paul was writing to. So Paul is the author of this letter, and he is writing to a church which is consumed by the Roman culture. Not only that, the city, so the Colossians, that's the name of who they are, but they were part of the city called Colossae. And Colossae was known for its clothing industry, textile industry. They actually created this wool-like material that had like a tint of red to it that they were known for. And that's how they made their money. They were actually like a big city known for that specific textile, known for that specific thing. They had a great revenue from its sheep and the wool, and the color of the wool. So they were known for what they produced. And knowing this context actually helps you see that Paul is addressing a group of people whose culture was influenced with the image of clothing. False teachers were running around saying all this different stuff like, oh, you got to dress this way. This is how it looks to be successful. This is, this Jesus that you talk about. Let's not believe everything he says. Let's actually do it this way. And let's do it, like this. So the culture was pretty much saying, don't dress like Jesus. You can still have a church. You can still, have this gathering of people, but you should fit in with what we're doing as a city, what we're doing as a culture. False teachers were all around, and Paul is actually addressing a lot of this early on in the letter too. If you go back, and we'll look at that a little bit later. So we live in a similar world, don't we? Where we're influenced by a lot that is going on in today's world. We see on TV all the time, commercials tell us to get this thing to look better, to be better, to, dress this way in order to be this way. We get swayed by icons and ideas and liars, right? We lose our focus on what it means to live like Jesus. We get stuck by an idea and we forget the truth. What Paul is directing the Colossians to see is an image of Jesus that stands out from everyone else. One that is marked with love, that is only provided through Jesus and his supremacy. So the words clothe yourselves and put on in these passages were visuals for the Colossians. And I believe they can help us today by showing us what it looks like to take on the very image of Jesus, to wrap ourselves up in the way of Jesus. And all these verses are just reflections, like these kindness and gentleness and all the things that are listed in here that Paul lists out. They're just reflections of Jesus himself. So today, we are going to dig into some of the ways to put on Jesus and dress differently than the world around us. You guys ready for that? I do believe when we start to dress differently, God moves and uses you to bless those around you, wherever you're at, with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, and so much more. So I'm going to give you 3 points that I believe are vital to our dress, and that will help us live a life that is different from others. So if you're taking notes, I'm going to just list them quick, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into these points. The 3 points are make space, change your focus, and be authentic. So number 1, make space and remove the clutter. We live in cluttered lives, don't we? We're so consumed by just everything. We work, some of us in this room work 7 days a week. Some of us come home and we have so much to do on our to-do list. And we have lists that just keep on piling up, and we don't know where these lists are coming from. We're like, where did this list come from? I don't even know where this list comes from. I thought I was working on this list. We are so consumed with life. Have you ever said this saying? I know I'm guilty of this. I wish I had an extra hour today. Lord, can you add another hour today and make a day 25 hours instead of 24? I'm guilty of that. And we allow so much of our lives to be consumed by things. Not saying all things are bad, but how much are we supposed to live with? Should we feel overworked and not rested? I know that this main point for me, I started to make room a couple of years ago in my life because I was going. I was running too fast that I'm pretty sure I left my shoes back there, and I was running barefoot. And I'm like, what's going on? And I made space, and I slowed down. We get so consumed with so much because of our phones, because of our technology, because of our lives and our seasons that we're in, our kids. There's just so much. And I think Jesus would approach us today and say these specific words to our culture, to the Americans. Seek first his kingdom. Seek first my kingdom. This is Jesus saying this in Matthew 6:33. And all will be added. I think before we go to our list, I think it becomes, we go to our list first and we get all these different things checked off before we even just make time for Jesus first and foremost. And I'm seeing this in my life currently because I'm going through some transition in my life. I'm stepping into full-time ministry here pretty soon next month. Praise God. And I am seeing this specifically. God keeps on bringing me to my knees and saying, seek me first. Everything else is going to be taken care of. This list that you're making, Russ, is just consuming you. It's giving you anxiety. Get rid of the list and seek me first. I didn't get rid of the list, but I've sought him first because I need to make sure some stuff. But I think what Jesus wants in this specific thing, I don't think he wants us to get rid of everything, go off the grid and live in a tent. He doesn't want us to do that. I think he wants us to make space for him in everything. What if we start small and remove a little clutter and find the things that drain us? What drains you? What makes you frustrated? And seek first his kingdom and watch what he does. Find a 15, 20-minute time where you can just be with him and not do for him or not do a list or whatever. Make space is just this being with him. Being outside this church, finding that place where you're just able to sit with him and take in the beauty around you, whether it's your family, whether it's everything he's given you, the business, the finances, even just your joy of just being able to experience joy when you wake up and you see the sun. Those little things make space for God to do great things in and through you. Seek him and you will find him, and all will be added. He said that. So seek him first. The list will get done. The things will get done. There's a deeper meaning to your life, and you have so much value. So, number 2, change your focus from being a here I am person to a there you are person. So what does this mean? After you remove the clutter and you make space for Jesus, you actually make room for others too. Because when you actually make space for Jesus and you remove some of that room, God will start using you in someone's life. God will start using you in someone's life. Instead of walking into a room, instead of walking into all these different places and just saying, hey, look at how good I look, you know. You actually like notice when someone's having a bad day. You actually notice the barista at Scooters or the checkout person at Casey's when you're going through and stuff, and you start to notice others' burdens because you're spending time with Jesus who notices your burdens. You start to get his heart for people. A there you are person stops, looks, listens, carries a burden for those around them no matter where they are at. When we make space, we actually have time to stop. We actually have time to stop and be a blessing. And Jesus shows us this in the Gospels pretty frequently. There's a lot of stories like they had to walk everywhere. Think about that. They didn't have cars. They didn't have mopeds. They didn't have scooters. Imagine Jesus on the scooter. Oh, man. No, don't imagine that. But there's a couple stories where I think if we look at them specifically, you can just see the tenderness of Jesus and see that he is the person that shows us what it means to be a there you are person. So in John 4, 7 through 9, we've probably read this many times. You've probably heard this story many times, is the Samaritan woman at the well. And Jesus said to her, will you give me a drink? And his disciples gone into town. They were busy buying their food. They had a list. They had a grocery list. Hey, Jesus, what do you want for dinner tonight? You know, and they're off. They're off. Go and get some food. And Jesus took the time to see this woman and have an interaction with him. He stopped. He didn't go with him into town to take care of the food. He stopped because he knew he had something so much more for this one woman that would give us a picture today what it really means to stop and be a there you are person. And then in Mark 10, 46 through 52, you might have heard this before, is the blind man Bartimaeus, where, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, it's that guy. He's the beggar. Don't listen to him. And he kept on saying, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And many rebuked him and said, shh, be quiet. You're annoying. But Jesus stopped. Look, that's an important thing. He stopped and said, call him. So he called the blind man. Cheer up. Get on your feet. You know. And he asked, what do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said, I want to see. There's a lot of people in this world that are like this blind man, where they just want to see because they're so consumed with the clutter. See where the remove clutter comes into play? If we lived a life where there's no clutter and we're making space for Jesus, we're able to bring people into that space with us. We're able to bring people out of this darkness, this pain. You were dressing yourself with Jesus, who gave of himself. And we all know, to the point of death. A lot of us are here because we said yes to that. Some of us recently, some of us many years ago. And we've seen so many lives transformed through these type of interactions, through these stories of Jesus. It's so good. Man. And I think this is one of my favorite points in this. I mean, they're all whatever. I don't think you have to play favorites. But the final point is be authentic all the time. Don't try to be someone else. Just be you. Be who God created you to be. You are in your neighborhoods. You have your family. You have your friends. You have your kids who are involved in these things and those things and everything. And just be you. You don't have to be up here on the stage or in this church to be a blessing to this community. You can just be who God made you to be wherever he has you at. Because he saved you. He didn't save you to be up here, to do these things, to look this way. As long as you are making space for him and you're allowing him to change your life, he's going to change the lives around you. If you are living authentically and not living a fake life where you walk out of here, these doors, and you're a different person. Be authentic. Walk out of these doors and be who God made you to be. In Romans 12, I thought the Message version, the first part, Romans 12, verse 9 in the Message version says this: love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Don't fake it. Don't wear someone else's clothes. We're going back on that. Don't try to fit in with society. Be who God made you to be. If you like, I was about ready to wear a Cubs jersey today because the Cubs are doing good. So, and I'm a Cubs fan, baseball fan. But I immediately thought, I think my wife would not approve of that. She usually likes when I don't know, husbands, you get it. But I had to wrestle with it this morning. I'm like, this is just who I am. This is who I am. I'm fun. Like, I just want to be who I am. But I'm like, I'm wearing something. Like, I can just be who I am no matter what I'm wearing. Like, some days we get out of bed and we're just wearing our pajamas all day. Just be you. No matter what you're wearing, no matter where you're at, no matter who you're around and stuff. When you dress yourself with Jesus, you become your true self. You become comfortable in your own skin. Your true self was created to bless others. We forget what our true selves are when we live a life faking it to make it. Consumed by things of this world, living a life focused on self. So I said we were going to look back on Colossians. And we'll turn back Colossians 3 again. And we'll look at verses 5 through 10. And these verses give us a context on what it looks like when we forget to dress ourselves with the way of Jesus and we live selfishly. We won't read through all of it, but I think we see when we don't clothe ourselves with Christ, we get so consumed with the things of this world. Sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is all of this is idolatry. We get angry. We have rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from our lips. And we lie, and we live in these lies, and we get so consumed with ourself that we forget that we have this new self in Jesus. And this idea of putting on a different image is this putting on our new self, which is being renewed in knowledge of the image of its creator. God made you to be a blessing. He wants you to be a blessing. When you clothe yourselves with our creator, when we clothe ourselves with our creator, we lose ourselves to the image of everything else. Like we lose it. We're not even consumed by it. And that's actually part of like my story, a little bit of part of just my testimony. When I was younger, the way I dressed caused a lot of pain in others. I wasn't a blessing. I was a bully. I didn't know Jesus. I was a bully walking through the hallways, just picking on kids and doing whatever it meant to look cool, to have status. I treated people really badly and poorly. I did everything to make the world around me like me. But this is where Jesus comes in. God blessed me with a coworker at the age of 16 at a pizza ranch. Is there a pizza ranch in Nebraska City? Pizza Hut, Valentino's. the equivalent of Valentino's, who dressed differently. This coworker dressed differently. He knew Jesus and I didn't. He spent time with Jesus and I didn't. He made room for Jesus in his everyday activity. When he was at school, we knew him as the Jesus guy. When he was at work, I knew him as the Jesus guy. He saw me and he gave me room to be myself. He blessed me. He listened to me while I was consumed with the world around me. That was almost 20 years ago. God's so good. There's a rustle, and maybe there's stories out there where you've had that experience where you encountered someone different, and you're like, what's different about you? And then you got dinner or coffee with them, and then here you are sitting in church 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years later because someone took the time to see you, to listen to you, to pray for you, and to invite you into the best life ever, right? And he's called us to do the same, to see people where they're at, to be a blessing. When you dress differently, you bless differently, right? So I want to encourage you, church. Let's dress differently and clothe ourselves with Jesus daily. Let's make room for Jesus to change our lives so we can see God and Jesus change the lives around us. Our communities, our families, our schools. You can see lives changed by simply dressing the way of Jesus, by being wrapped up in his ways. When you do these three things, I do believe God will use you to impact those around you. And if there's a lie in your mind that he won't, make space and remove that clutter. Start dressing, and God will start blessing. So I want to leave you with a few practical tools, not just this encouragement, but I think it's great to have tools that you can take with you when you're walking and you step outside these doors. You know, hey, I have this in my back. I remember these things. I remember these stories because I do believe stories change people's lives. So these things have added a lot of fuel to my life, and I have seen God in all of them. I want to tell you all the stories. Maybe some other time. Probably take all day. I'm not going to tell you that. But it's what he's going to do through you, church. So, here's some of the practical tools that I think if we take these and we walk outside of these doors, use them. However you want to use them. All right? Promise? Sure? All right. Why not? So, who likes acronyms? Anyone like acronyms? Anyone know what an acronym is? You know, it's like, letters, and then each letter stands for a specific thing. So I'm gonna bless you with this incredible acronym today that you can take with you, and I'll kind of explain what you can do with this acronym when you walk outside these doors. Bless your Frances. Everyone's like, wait, there's only one France. No, bless your Frances. So I don't know if you can see this right now, but each letter stands for an influence in your life. So F is friends. R is relatives. A is acquaintances. N is neighbors. C is coworkers. E, enemies. And then S, strangers. So this is what it looks like when you take this, picture and stuff and you look at it. Blessing your Franceses look like being there for a friend who just got a cancer diagnosis. Sending an I love you text to your relative that just lost their loved one. Asking the person at Scooters, I have Starbucks on here, at Scooters you frequent, if they need any prayer for things in their life. Getting to know your neighbors' names, needs, burdens, and slowing down your life to be there for them. Invite your coworker you want to get to know more out to lunch and pay for it. Make a list of your enemies. Don't just stop there. And pray a blessing over them weekly. Take your headphones out on a walk and smile to those that run and walk by. And ask God to use you to bless someone on the walk. Start a list of Frances today. I actually have one in my phone that I created, and I just put friends, relatives, and I just started listing some names underneath them. Start it in your phone, your journal, and just take some time. Make space to pray over people. Make space for you to be a blessing to your Frances. I think these type of tools, like I don't want to just leave you and then just say good luck. I think when I heard this, I was at a conference and stuff. I'm like, I like that, because when you actually put a name to something, it just matters so much more than just a face. And I know in small communities, we all can, in smaller towns and stuff, we can hear through the grapevine about X, Y, Z and stuff, and we can do it happens in big city too, by the way. And we're very similar. I grew up in a small town too, so I've seen both. But when you actually put a name to someone, when you actually write their name down and you pray over it, and simply prayer is just, God, be with Zach today. Lord, be with Robin today. These specific enemies, I'm not going to list them up here because this is being streamed. These specific enemies, I just pray for your presence to just be with them today. May you just bless them, God, with peace. God, lead them, God, to your feet. Lead them to just submission to you. It's that easy, putting a name to it. Here's a couple books, too. I'd like to recommend. These books are incredible. Great authors. These resources have really shaped who I was. So there's The Gospel Comes with a House Key. That's really small town type thing where basically after church, hey, our house is open. Come eat dinner with us. Not putting any pressure on anyone in here, but that's a great book. The Art of Neighboring. Guys, last week, our neighbors came to church. They came to church for the first time in a long time because I mowed their lawn. Because I was there for them and I said, hey, whatever you need. You don't have to pay for anything. Whatever you need. And then they came to church. And then they're at church right now. They texted me today like, hey, are you going to be at church? I'm like, no, I'm going to be at a different church, but yeah, absolutely go to church. And surprise the world. That book, I read that 2-3 years ago. Whew, it's short. It's a short one, but it's a good one. So I encourage you, these books, these resources, Bless Your Frances, the acronym. Also, just dig into the way of Jesus. Dig into his scripture. Dig into how he did things because he was just incredible. Read his story. Stop and ask yourself, how can I apply this to my life? So start dressing differently today by making room for Jesus, by removing all the clutter in our lives, and change your focus and become a there you are person. Man, that's so good, right? There you are. I see you. We're able to do that when we slow down, when we remove the clutter. And be who God made you authentically be. Don't fake it. God changed you. He saved you, and he put you where you're at to be a blessing. I'm going to pray for you. God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for seeing us. God, for choosing us, for calling us higher, to be a blessing to those around us. God, to bring your truth, God, to our cities, to our families, to our friends, to our relatives, to our coworkers, to our strangers that we know, to our enemies. God, use us to just be a blessing, God. And we don't want to just walk out of this church and just go about our days. God, we want to be a blessing. We want to be a light in the darkness. We want to dress differently. God, so I just pray a blessing over Cornerstone Church right now. God, may you use everyone here that heard these words today in someone's life this week. In a Francis' life. In a Francis's life. God, may you highlight someone on this list for them, God, that they can be a blessing to this week. Use them to bring your ways into this city, into this community. Build your church. Build your church today. In Jesus' name, amen. If you need prayer afterwards or whatever, I'll be right over there. And thank you so much. Love you all.